When you think of the Alhambra Palace in Granada, what comes to mind? Probably those stunning archways, the intricate tile work, and yeah, you're not wrong, it's one of the most beautiful places on Earth. But its greatest marvel, the real secret to its magic, isn't something you see right away. It's the water. This hidden network that didn't just create an oasis of impossible luxury, it kept an entire kingdom alive.
To really get how incredible this is, you have to picture medieval Spain. Christian armies were sweeping across the land, conquering Muslim cities one by one. It was a time of, constant warfare. And yet, right in the middle of it all, the city of Granada, protected by this mighty Alhambra palace, just stood strong. For 200 years, it was basically untouchable. So how? How did they pull that off?
You'd think it was the fortress walls, right? But the real key, the secret weapon for both its survival and its splendor, was a completely revolutionary water system. A truly mind-blowing network of pipes and channels that powered everything from fountains that could tell time to underfloor heating. And what's wild is that it was so brilliantly engineered that a lot of it still works perfectly today.
Okay, so how on earth did they do it? Well, the engineers who built the Alhambra faced one giant problem from the get-go. The palace was sitting way up on a high hill, but the main river, their water source, was far, far below. They had to solve an uphill battle, literally.
This number right here puts the whole challenge into perspective. 200 meters. That's like a 65-story skyscraper. How do you get a river to climb that high, especially when all you have is medieval technology?
Well, the solution was just monumental. Instead of trying to force the water up, they went out. The engineers hiked 6 kilometers upriver until they found a spot that was naturally higher than the palace itself. Smart, right? There, they dammed the river and started digging a massive new channel, what we call the Royal Canal. With insane precision, they carved this path through really difficult terrain, making sure to keep this very slight, perfectly calculated downward slope all the way back to the Alhambra. Bringing water to the palace's doorstep was an incredible achievement, for sure, but it was really just step one. See, the designers had these grand ambitions: elegant fountains shooting water high into the air, luxurious baths with hot showers, stuff that needed serious water pressure, way more than the gentle flow of the canal could ever provide. So, they had to engineer a power-up. First, they dug this huge storage pool at a spot even higher than the palace. Then, they diverted water from that new Royal Canal down into a well 60 meters below the pool. From there, they used an animal-powered water wheel to lift that water all the way up and fill the high pool. By storing 400 cubic meters of water up there, it basically acted like a giant medieval water tower, pressurizing the entire system for the whole palace. And all that pressure? Well, it led to some absolutely amazing applications. Maybe none more famous than the one sitting right in the heart of the palace. In the center of the Court of the Lions, there was a fountain that didn't just look beautiful, it actually told time.
The way it worked was just ingenious. Okay, so a central pipe would fill a large bowl with water at a very slow, very constant rate. Inside that bowl, there were 12 holes, each placed at a specific height, and each one led to one of the 12 lion statues. As the water level slowly rose, it would reach a new hole every hour, which would make another lion start spouting water. After 12 hours, all the lions would be going. And then, the craziest part, the whole thing would automatically reset itself.
Now hang on a second, an automatic reset with no electricity, no computers, not even a person there to pull a lever? How in the world did they build a self-draining system that could reset a clock with perfect timing every single day?
The answer is just beautiful, elegant physics. It's called the siphon effect. Hidden inside the fountain was a curved pipe, a siphon. As the water in the main bowl rose, it also rose up inside this pipe. As soon as the water level hit the very top of the siphon's curve, gravity would take over and it would start to fall down the other side. That falling water created a seal, and its weight would then literally pull the rest of the water out of the bowl with it, draining the whole thing in just a few seconds. Absolutely brilliant.
But the water's journey wasn't over at the fountain. Not even close. As it flowed onward through these shallow channels carved into the floors, it revealed even more hidden perks of this incredible network.
So next, welcome to the Royal Thermal Baths, a place for relaxation, for diplomacy, the whole shebang. This was basically a full-service spa. Water was diverted underground to a control room with a huge copper boiler heated by a wood fire. This thing created both hot water and steam. The hot water was piped to showers and fountains, while the steam was channeled under the marble floors for some cozy underfloor heating. Then it would go up through pillars into a steam room. They could even control the steam levels by opening and closing these cool star-shaped vents in the ceiling.
And as if all that wasn't enough, the water had one final gift for everyone living in the palace. See, Granada is a really hot part of Spain. So as the warm air would blow across the palace's thousands of pools and channels and fountains, the water would evaporate. And that process, evaporation, naturally cools the air around it. It was creating a comfortable microclimate throughout the entire Alhambra. Natural air conditioning, hundreds of years ahead of its time.
But the system had one last challenge, one final trick up its sleeve. And honestly, this might be the most astonishing part of the whole story. The water network eventually reached the western part of the palace, where the soldiers lived. And this area was built just slightly higher than everything else. The water had to make one final climb, with no obvious source of power.
6 meters. That was the final hurdle. Now, it's not as high as that first 200-meter problem, but this time was different. There were no water wheels, no animals, nothing to lift it. The water had to seemingly defy gravity all on its own. How is that even possible?
Well, the solution is all down to a really simple principle of physics. Just picture 2 columns of water. One is normal, solid water. The other is what we call aerated water. It's full of tiny air bubbles. Because of those bubbles, the aerated water is less dense, which just means it's lighter. And that tiny difference in weight is the key to this entire incredible device.
The device they built was called a whirlpool pump, and you have to hear how this worked. So water flows into a top container, and it's shaped to create a vortex, a whirlpool. The low-pressure center of that whirlpool acts like a vacuum, and it sucks air down into a chamber below. In that chamber, the air and water mix together, creating that lighter, bubbly water we just talked about. This mixture then gets forced into a thin pipe. And because the heavier, solid water in the rest of the system is always pushing down, it easily forces that lighter, aerated water up the pipe, raising it a full 6 meters higher. No moving parts. Just physics.
I mean, just step back and look at this legacy of ingenuity. A 6-kilometer canal carved through mountains, a pressurized water tower system, a clock powered by water that resets itself with a siphon, a full thermal spa with heated floors, and a pump that uses a whirlpool to make water flow uphill. It is an absolutely staggering list of achievements.
And maybe the most incredible part of all of this isn't just some historical curiosity we're looking at in a museum. Many of these systems, built with such incredible vision hundreds of years ago, are still working. The water still flows through that royal canal. It's a living testament to the sheer genius of its builders.
So it kind of leaves you with a question, doesn't it? In our world of really complex, high-energy technology, what can we learn from a system that just used gravity, air, and water to create a sustainable, luxurious, and resilient oasis that has lasted for centuries? Maybe, just maybe, the most brilliant design is the one that learns to work in harmony with nature, not against it.